the vast majority of people in real estate really have a pretty significant insecurity, not around pricing a home, but around understanding the concepts and the dynamics around the market.
If you don't have the right tool or you don't have the expertise in that area, you might make up answers.
Yeah, and that's not great. Real estate professionals, welcome back to the RMG Agent Podcast. I'm your host, Reed Moore, with the nefarious Jake Bartlett, and we are here on a very special episode. I'm really excited to share this stuff with you, and as always, go on over to rmgagentpodcast.com. You're going to find the action guides, all kinds of super good stuff. It's Halloween season. We actually just did that episode. And so just treat it like candy. It's going to be great. And we're going to drop some more good stuff for you today. Jake?
Yep. So he hinted at the Halloween episode. Make sure and go back and watch that because it's the Tales from the Lockbox. Yes. We told some of our horror stories from our real estate career. It's a pretty fun, funny episode. It's maybe not as heavy as some of the ones we've done.
Yeah.
But it's fun. And also there was an ask on there of like, go on and leave your horror stories.
Yes.
And we're going to vote on that and go from there. So cool. We have a fun one today. We've talked about it a little bit. We front sold this a few times of things that that was coming. And this one is entitled, Do You Really Know Your Market?
Yes.
So we're going to talk about a tool that we think you need.
Yes. So pop quiz, what is one topic that real estate agents should know that makes them incredibly insecure?
How to open a lockbox?
In the moment, yes. Like when it's not working and it's frozen because of the middle of winter, yeah.
I know what it is. It's their market knowledge.
Yes. It's a deep understanding of kind of being the economist of choice for your clients, right? And the reason we think that this is so important is this has always been important, but the reality is most people in the residential real estate space got into this business because they're people, right? They have great people skills. They love helping people. They can be good or even great negotiators. But over and over again, when I talk to coaching clients or I talk to people in real estate, the vast majority of people in real estate really have a pretty significant insecurity, not around pricing a home, but around understanding the concepts and the dynamics around the market.
Yeah, understanding what's happening in the market. Your clients always ask those questions, and sometimes if you don't have the right tool or you don't have the expertise in that area, you might make up answers.
Yeah, and that's not great. And of course, we've had this strong bent towards our industry is turning into a professional industry. Yay, high five, everybody wins, this is great. But we go back to the trusted guide model, and we did a whole episode on this, and we actually did several episodes breaking this out. But in the trusted guide model, right, we go all the way back to the research, and the research says that by a landslide, the number one thing that a consumer wants in a real estate agent to help them buy or sell a property is that they trust them. And so if we want to be compensated for what we do, we need to have a trusting relationship with our clients. And so you can't just say that on the back of a card. You actually have to be able to demonstrate that you're trustworthy. And that goes beyond character, right? Character is table stakes. But what we have to be able to do is we have to be able to take the elements of our trusted guide model, and we have to be able to demonstrate that we have these elements for a consumer. So those elements are access. We need to be able to provide them access to great information, to great resources, to great connections, to great relationships. Mm-hmm. We need to be able to provide them knowledge. We need to be able to demonstrate that we know how to navigate the negotiations, how to navigate the market, and all of those things. And then, of course, we need to be able to apply that to their unique situation. And when it comes to being the economist of choice, when it comes to being the person who somebody can deeply trust in a new, highly professional environment, the one kind of Achilles heel for the vast majority of agents is this issue of genuinely, deeply understanding their market and being very, very confident in their understanding. And there's a big problem with that, and that is that most real estate agents are not wired to naturally do that, and they haven't gotten an economics degree, and that's okay, but it's not an excuse to not have a very, very core element that you need as a professional.
Yep. Yeah. The tool we're going to talk about is something that hits on every aspect of the trusted guide model. It's going to deepen your knowledge. It's going to give you the knowledge that you need on the economy that's happening in your market to be able to then give them the access to the knowledge and the information, and then apply that in the application process.
Absolutely. Yes.
Yep. So do we tell them the tool name now?
Yes. What's the tool name?
AreaPro.
AreaPro. Okay, yeah. So AreaPro, which is at areapro.com. And by the way, if you go to areapro.com/RMG, you're going to get a massive discount on the product. But here's what I love about this product. This product takes a local area market knowledge, the data, and it not only produces a graphical user interface that is really easy to navigate and the ability to print it off in a PDF and show your consumer, but it also has a built-in AI feature that has all of the capabilities that you find in something like ChatGPT, but it's also matched with your specific area knowledge, as well as all of the things that you need to know as a real estate agent. And so it's just this incredible tool that we're going to demo at the end of this podcast. So if you're listening to this podcast, we're going to give you some really good stuff, but then you're going to want to go to YouTube and you're going to want to watch this short demo on some of the things that this tool can do for you, because if this is an area that you need to grow in, you need to grow in this area, you're going to want to know more about this tool. So let's just give some framework here about like what we need to be able to understand when it comes to the market. And so talk to us about the kind of the concentric circles when it comes to understanding a market.
Yeah. So when you're talking about the concentric circles that your clients want to know information on, you've got the worldwide information on what's happening in the economy, then down to your country, then down to your state, then your city, your neighborhood, and then your specific house.
That's right.
So this tool has the ability to fill in the gap from, like national resources down to your localized neighborhood and city, and then specifically to that house. So we've been messing around with this for like a month and a half now?
Yeah, we've been using this tool now. We've as a company, we have always used tools to be able to empower our agents to be the economists of choice. And this is just a supercharged version of that with AI capability.
Yeah, when I started messing around with it, I couldn't believe some of the levels that I could go with. I could go into specific neighborhoods and type in and create knowledge base that was more localized for my clients and also more localized for my marketing and things like that.
Yes. So here's where I think a huge part of this value is that when you talk to consumers right now, there is a lot of attention, of course, on the national front. And so there's going to be people that you're talking to, maybe even on a daily basis, they're saying, I'm waiting until, the election happens. And there's really no practical reason for that, but there's this emotional connection to what's happening at the national level. And there's this giant gap of data and logic that is in between them being frozen up maybe in fear and them actually being able to get in touch with their motivation and move forward. So one of the big things that great market data and understanding how to use that data serves you, and a great way it serves you and serves your client is that a lot of clients will start in this place of negative emotion. And it might be fear-based, and a lot of times fear-based things are also ignorance-based. Now, you're not going to say that to your client, but that's kind of how that goes. And what we want to be able to do is we want to take people from negative emotion through logic to positive emotion. And the reality is we don't want to leave them in logic, because logic causes people to think, emotion causes people to act. So right now your client is in a state of negative emotion. That means they're acting in a way that is not congruent with their motivation, with their future goals and what they want to achieve. So this tool really helps you bridge the gap from the national narrative, and whether it's right or left, it's just absolute fear mongering, right? We want to bring them into a conversation that is more specific to the area, the city, and the neighborhood that they're going to be looking at, so that they can really see what's happening, so that we can move them to positive emotion around their future. It's a big, big value of being able to articulate data in a way that serves your client.
We're in Spokane, Washington. There was a market, the Tri-Cities in central Washington, that was one of the only markets in the whole country that never went through a downturn last time.
Right.
You know, what were those clients and people thinking about the national market?
Absolutely.
And even the state market when their market wasn't actually downturn? A tool like this takes you to their localized area and is able to show them and take them from that negative emotion all the way to, hey, actually our market's pretty good right now.
Yeah, that's right. And so when you can do that as a real estate agent, what happens is you can take away all of the false narratives, and you can create a narrative based off of logic to help the person move forward. Everybody has a story, and if the story is carved by all of the negative media and things like that, it's just not helpful, especially to them and their family. And so we want to be the professionals that know how to use the data in a way to help them see the logic clearly, then to be able to move them forward, if that's the best, if that's best for them.
We're going to talk deep about the areas that this tool is going to help you specifically. And I think the first and foremost portion is it's going to educate you as a person.
Yes. Okay. So one of the first layers of insecurity that you're going to see in a real estate agent is they're going to hear terms like days on market. Okay. So everybody understands what days on market is, but does somebody actually understand the impact or how to kind of break that up for a buyer or a seller to help them understand the importance of that? What about the list to pending ratio? What about the saturation rate, right? All of these different little pieces and parts that come to create the knowledge base that a real estate professional needs to have. Well, you can go out and you can research this, and the reality is that there's a good chance you're just not going to do it because you're out trying to sell properties. But what you can do with AreaPro is you can go in with the AI tool, and you don't have to ask any human, right? You don't have to ask embarrassing questions that everybody knows they should have known 20 years ago, but they don't. And you can literally ask it to teach you. So when it spits out data, you can say, hey, can you tell me more about this? Or I have a seller right now that is concerned about their house sitting for too long. What should I tell them about days on the market? And AreaPro will actually articulate that out to you. And it will also give you a series of 3 to 5 additional questions that you might want to ask to deepen your knowledge. And so this helps you, right? So you said something earlier, which was something like, don't engage in a conversation that you can't go like the next layer deeper in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so what this will do is this will allow you to have a conversation with a client about something that's relevant to their situation, but for you to have 2 or 3 more layers of depth in your understanding and in your access to additional understanding.
Yeah, that's great. And one of the areas of the trusted guide model being knowledge, like as a professional, you're expected to have a deeper knowledge base than they are.
Yes.
And your clients are.
And you should.
And you should.
And if you have a hard time with that in this particular area, that means you need a tool.
Yep. Yeah. And it's messing around with it and using it and playing with it and being able to have like the next logical questions after you've asked it something, and just it's almost like a game of learning.
Yes, absolutely.
So the next level is going to be educating our consumers.
Yes. So you're on the phone with a consumer and they start asking you really good questions. You have your AreaPro up and you just type questions into AreaPro, and in real time, it will start spitting out answers with specific percentages and specific information about not only broad strokes with the terminology and all the things that you use it to learn, but actually around maybe a specific price point in a specific neighborhood, and what's happened this year, what's happened over the last 6 months, what the last 3-year trend is. You can do any of those things with AreaPro, because what we want to do again is bridge that negative to positive emotion with logic, and we can get really, really granular with excellent logic. And by the way, not just logic, but insights, things that I wouldn't even think about or you wouldn't even think about when it comes to an area like Liberty Lake. right?
Right.
So it's not just about the data, but the AI capability also has the ability to put in some of the elements of lifestyle and the considerations for that particular area.
Yeah, and there's also, just like a lot of the other tools that don't have the AI, you can create graphs and you can create price points and you can do all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the AI takes it to the next level for the consumers.
Yeah, so one of the things that you might find is that the median sales price for pending properties in the area is $450,000. You're like, okay, that's great. But then you dig in the graph a little bit more and you find that the median active for the area is $570,000. Okay, well that's that's a $120,000 gap between what the median sales price is and the median list price is. Well, what does that mean? Well, we can speculate what that means, but we can actually go into the AI and say, hey, there's this discrepancy. Can you tell me more about that? Give me the last 6 months history on this. And we can actually ask it for these trends and for this knowledge base to be able to really not just see the data, but make sense of it.
Okay, so and this is a really tricky one, and I'm seeing some people struggling with it that maybe are newer in the last 5 years, that have never dealt with mispricing a home,
right,
or navigating pricing conversations where the seller is off on their price and you know where it needs to be, but you don't have the data or the tool or the knowledge to be able to help you navigate that.
Yeah. So if you're doing a market analysis on a home, there's a good chance that you've gotten really good at that, and that's awesome. But the typical way of doing that is we're going to find comparable properties, and of course that's what an appraiser is going to do. But an appraiser doesn't actually set value of what a ready, willing, able buyer is willing to pay in any given market, which actually defines the value of a home. So when we go out and we pull comparable properties and we look at that, we get this maybe first layer of understanding. But if I can see the trajectory of the market, whether that's up, down, or flat, or just any of those different things, I can start to see maybe what I'm going to be setting the seller up for when it comes to future success or failure. And so I can tell them that, something like, well, from my experience this time of year, this is kind of what happens. But that's my experience versus yours. And that's my experience versus your emotion. But if I can go and show, say, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I want you to take a look at this. This is what's been happening over the last 3 months. This is what pricing has done. And here's what it did over the last couple of years. And here's kind of where we're looking right now. And by the way, we already have a narrative here to be able to explain this because of the AI. Now I have this additional layer of understanding that I can educate them on. Does it mean they're going to listen? Not necessarily. But it does mean that I'm going to show up as the trusted guide. It does mean that I'm going to show up as a professional.
Okay, and the last thing is going to be marketing.
Yes. Oh my gosh. We've been using this tool now for a little while. You've been using this on your social media, and it is absolutely fantastic because when we see real estate posts, it's like, cool, you see a picture of a house, right? Like, that's great. Or somebody posts a house for sale. That's wonderful. Like, keep doing that. That's great marketing. But if somebody's scrolling your social media or somebody's receiving emails from you, past clients, if you have the ability to go in and in 4 seconds, that's what you told me. You said, I texted you about this post and said, holy crap, that was a great post. And you're like, it literally took me 4 seconds.
Yeah.
It was just this very, very articulate breakdown of what's happening in the market. And so if I was scrolling through there and it had emojis in it, like it was primed for social media. I looked at it and, in reading it, it took me 20 or 30 seconds and I knew way more about that area than I knew. If I lived in that area, I just now got a snapshot of what's happening with my home. It's fantastic information.
Yeah, super easy. This is something that Rita's been challenging me on, is my social media presence, because I've resisted for a very long time. And so this has been super helpful to give me some posts that are almost plug and play, right?
Yes.
Like I'm able to push a button with a prompt and get something that's accurate, correct, and consumer-centric that I can now post.
Yeah, and just like if you're familiar with other AI tools, you can make it funny. You can upgrade the language if you have a more sophisticated audience. You can shorten it. You can lengthen it. You can expound on certain pieces and parts, and that's all by just prompting it. And it really produces fantastic information.
Now's the time to go to YouTube because we're going to put in the demo.
Yes, so we're going to do a demo of some of the basic things that this does, and we want you to go to areapro.com/RMG. This is a product we are just convinced, right? Unless you absolutely have, the people who built AreaPro, they have a binder that they update before this tool. They have a binder of market stats and data, and they update it every single week because they are absolute professionals in their market, and they dominate their market because they're professionals.
Right.
And so this was a solution for them to be able to have even better to-the-day access to great information. So we're going to go ahead and walk you through a demo of this. Again, areapro.com/RMG. We have a fantastic discount that we asked them for our listeners at RMG Agent Podcast. All right, everybody, welcome to this part of this podcast. If you're not on YouTube, you might want to watch this on YouTube. You can go to rmgagentpodcast.com and get to the YouTube link there, or just simply go to YouTube and type in RMG Agent Podcast. But let me show you some of the things that we talked about in this podcast when it comes to AreaPro. So if you're used to using any type of professional technology to be able to source great data for your clients, like a total market overview view or something like that, or maybe even Stats3 MLS, then this is going to be a really, really upgraded, robust version of that. And if you're like most agents, when we start jumping into the data that comes to real estate, there may be a level of intimidation or just a discomfort that you have with that. And this is going to remove all that if you allow it to. So let me just walk you through this. So if we go in here and we just want to take a look at Anchorage, the very first thing we can do is we can see an actual overview of what's happening in the market. So we can see month supply of inventory. We can see how many residential units are active, the days on market, all of this. And we can really narrow down here. So I can look at just things under 500,000, and I can go over here and I can really see, hey, what's moving and what's happening in that market segment, or the 500,000 to $1 million. I can see right here that there's a lot of activity around that 575K to 600. And I can see there's second highest here at 625 to 650. And so what I can do in this also is I can change this view, and I can go to a view maybe that I'm more used to, which is being able to see all of this data on one screen, and I can see the active days in the market pending and all the rest, right? So I can go in here and I can see at the very bottom everything that's happening in the market, and then I can speak really intelligently to clients by knowing specifically what's happening in a market segment, and obviously drilling down on that. Now that's all great, but what if you're actually just kind of intimidated by seeing any of this stuff to begin with? Well, here's one of the very first things that AreaPro does for you if we just allow ourselves to be humble, and there's things in this part of your professional career that you're not great at. This is a way to educate yourself. So if I go in here and I see 1.5 months of supply of inventory. So some of you may be like, totally got it. I don't just know what that means. I actually know the reason that that's important. Well, I can take this and I can just take month supply of inventory, and I can go back here and I can just ask the AI a question. I can say, teach me about the importance of month supply of inventory. And then AreaPro is going to go in here and it's going to teach me as a real estate agent. This is a key metric in real estate that helps gauge the balance between supply and demand in the housing market. Here's why it's important. It talks about market balancing indicator, pricing trends, strategic planning, inventory management. So if I look at this and I go through here, I can understand what's important actually about this measurement. So I'm just not talking about something that I don't truly understand. And then if I go down, the AI gives me additional prompts for questions that I might care about. What is the current MSI, right? What is the current month supply of inventory in Anchorage? I'm like, well, I want to know that. So I click on this, and AreaPro is going to give me this as an overview, and it's going to break that down for me. But now if I go in here and I say, hey, tell me what the month supply of inventory in the $500,000 to $600,000 price range is. And then I click this, and it's going to take that data and it's going to tell me for that specific price point what's going on in this. And I can ask a question like, is 1.6 months inventory good? Right? Maybe an ignorant question. Let's see what the AI has to say about that. A month's supply of inventory, 1.6 month, is considered very favorable for sellers, and here's why. So I just took my really broad question and broke it down and said, hey, this is really good for sellers. I can just take this and talk to a consumer directly about it, or if I find something really compelling as I'm learning more about MSI and I'm learning more about maybe other terms and things like that that I want to educate myself on, I can say, turn this into a Facebook post targeting sellers in this price point in Anchorage. And now AreaPro is going to go in here and it's going to build me a Facebook post. So how can I make this post more engaging? Sure, why not? Let's take a look. I can add a call to action, use more eye-catching visuals, include testimonials, highlight the benefits, all these things. Okay, cool. This is super great. So I can say, awesome. This is really, really helpful information, but I don't actually want to do that. I want the AI to do that. So I can say, rewrite this post with a strong call to action and use more emojis. Why not? I love emojis. Boom. Okay. So now all I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to just go in here. Got my hashtags already built in, and I'm going to just take this, I'm going to cut and paste it, I'm going to drop it over into my Facebook, and I'm done with my marketing. Okay, so let's go all the way back here, back to my homepage, and see what I have down here. So obviously I have Anchorage, Spokane, and Wasilla, but if I go back in here to Anchorage, and there's something else that I want to know about, right? So there's been 1,831 properties sold in the last 6 months. Average list to pending price, 100.3%. Okay, all of this stuff now is things that I can drill down on, and I can drill down on them for my own market knowledge. I can drill down on these things to be able to educate a specific client. So I have somebody who calls me as a buyer, and they ask me, is now a good time to buy in the $700,000 to $800,000 price point in Anchorage? Okay, so I can give them my normal talking points, but if I know this call's coming, I can ask AI. So I can say, what are the reasons for a buyer in Anchorage to be looking to purchase a $750,000 home right now? And I'm going to go in here, and AreaPro is not going to just give me fluff, but is actually going to give me very specific market dynamic things to be able to talk to this client about, right? So here's the market dynamics, the appreciation potential. Okay, all of these things are things that I can touch on. And then the other element to this, of course, is I can go down here and I can see what the other different prompts are. Right? How many high quality listings are available? I don't even know what AI is going to say about this, but let's see what they have. Currently, there are 33 active listings between $700,000 and $800,000 in Anchorage. These listings typically represent high quality homes with desirable features, making them attractive options to buyers in this segment. Awesome. Okay, cool. So I can take and I can just dig around, and my hope is that you guys will choose to use this as a tool to be able to kind of create that entire trusted guide model. So this gives you access, right? So clients now have access through you to great data that's going to be able to help them make great decisions. This is now a part of your knowledge base, and then you're going to be able to apply this to their specific scenario. And of course, the last thing that you can do here with AreaPro is this is going to be a great tool for making sure you fill out more relevant data when it comes to your CMAs and your market analysis of sitting down and consulting with a seller. So obviously you're going to sit down and you're going to show them comparables, but you're going to be able to use AreaPro to be able to figure out trends, but not just figure them out, but be able to show them, print any of this information to a PDF. So again, I just want to encourage you guys, go to areapro.com/RMG, and because AreaPro is done by some really great friends of mine and they have agreed to sponsor this podcast, they're going to give you just an incredible discount on this. This is a tool that you absolutely need in your toolbox as you move more and more into professionalism in your real estate career. Okay, guys, I hope that helped. Take care. All right, guys, that's our demo of AreaPro. Again, areapro.com/RMG to get a discount. This tool will absolutely blow your client's mind. It will educate you, will make you a better professional. Jake, what do we have coming up next?
We have how to navigate change, which is a hard one for me. I can lean towards being a high S personality, and so change is a little bit of a struggle for me. And so we're going to do a deep dive into some tricks and tools and things to be able to help you with change.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for being with us again. We'll see you next week.